Hi everyone, today I will be introducing you to Tatiana Milanan, who actually is from my country. We used to be one country before. She's from Montenegro, I am from Macedonia. It used to be called Yugoslavia in those days. But I had a very special experience with her. I just met her recently, but we did a session together, and I will tell you about my experience later, but let her explain what this was. It's a transcendental technique, and it's a FAIR. It's called FAIR, but she will explain what that means. So Tatiana, please tell us a little bit, how did you come up with this? How did you, this whole concept?
Listen, when the idea, when it's a good time for the idea, it will find a way to express itself through me, through anybody else. You know, it doesn't matter who it is. I'm just a conduit for it, literally. So
You're the vehicle.
It's time.
Right?
I think I'm just one of these conduits. They're needed for it, because what happened right now, like in Europe, I started it, I introduced it to people that I used to work with, and then there are the ones who are spreading it through. We did nothing in marketing, we did nothing when it comes to promotion of it, but it's word of mouth. So you did it yourself, and then when people see you and they ask you, what did you do, what are you on, and you're not doing anything physical, chemical, whatever, but then the change is obvious. People see it in your face, they see it in your gesture, they see it in your manners, the way you are shining from within. And everybody wants that, because what it is, the technique brings you down to the core self, to the base of who you really are, and that's love and peace. So once you experience that love and peace, then nothing anybody else says or tells you it doesn't matter anymore.
Yeah,
then you know who you are.
So what does it say, FAIR, F-A-I-R?
It's a free authentic integration release, but basically what it is, allows you to release energy of emotional charge or that intensive tension from the things that we've been suppressing, or the things we anchor within our body and we carry with us everywhere we go. So what does that mean? Let's say you're like 3 years old, you're playing with your Legos, and then your, say, authority, your brother, sister, mother comes, and then they're literally like mad or whatever, so they're tearing down your toys. In that moment, the normal reaction is for you to be angry. But if you choose not to be angry, because if you are angry, you might get beaten up. Right. So in that moment, you choose not to be angry, and then what happens? You suppress that anger when you're 3. But that anger, it's energy in movement. Everything that exists is what? Just energy in movement. So the base of that emotion, it's emotion, energy in movement, needs to flow. And everything that exists in this expression of duality has beginning, has the end. But from beginning to the end, in order to complete itself, its course, has to be acknowledged, recognized, experienced, integrated, and then goes away.
Integration is a very big point, because
that's
very often we
part.
do the rest, but then when it comes to integration, we kind of miss that point, and it's kind of like, it doesn't stick.
Exactly.
I think that's what I like when you have a technique, because it was integrations completely at the end. I was like, wow, now I see it. The release was there, all these emotions and all the memories and millions of questions that you asked, that was amazing. It really gets you deeper and deeper and deeper, digging down to the core, and really analyzing that cause and releasing it and then integrating. That was a really powerful part for me. Yeah.
Yes, it's one of the rare techniques that actually deal with the cause. When there's no cause, there's no consequences. Let's say you have insomnia, you go to the doctor to solve your insomnia, he gives you pills for the insomnia, he doesn't solve the cause of a problem. This technique, you solve the cause. When there's no cause, you can sleep normally at night, you know what I mean? And another thing, it's not a million questions, it's only less than 30.
Okay, it sounded like that because it was a lot of, because you go back to it. That's what it is. So it was the same questions, but digging deeper and deeper, so it was,
You experience it, so
I
you know what
experienced like, the session was like 4 hours, guys.
Three and a half hours.
3.5 hours to be exact, but it was a lot going on, so.
Because you had a lot of content. It could be anything between hour and a half in average, hour and a half to, that's an average session. And then if there's because we worked healing the inner child, and when you see that people have not accepted their child within, then that process, let's say extra half an hour, at least for that. And then when you want to talk to the older version of yourself, then you understand that all the answers are already within you.
Right.
You understand that everything is a construct and you're experiencing it. So there's a lot of wow moments in there, as you know.
Yeah.
But the wow moment and the insight doesn't solve a problem. It just lets you know what it is. But what solves the problem is integration from these suppressed content that pops up. And the integration is what will make that problem disappear forever.
Yes.
And that's
what it
different
is.
than
It's almost like
anything
I felt one session was enough. It's like 20 years of therapy. It goes into 3 hours, you know.
Yes. It's worth it. It's really worth it.
It's really worth it. Oh, I'm so amazed and so pleased and grateful to the gods for putting us together and doing this session, because honestly, I think I dropped 20 years of my look and of my life.
Oh, the weight you've been carrying with yourself everywhere you go. That's what it is, yes.
And also physical weight. I honestly think my stomach has dropped and released everything, because I was holding, my stomach is holding, you know, like, because all the nervous system, we have 72,000 nerves in the stomach area. So of course, everything gets jammed up there. And of course you have that problems with the digestion and goes beyond, right? But this was the real release that I feel now empty and alive and light.
Yes. So, and younger.
And younger for sure. I said 20 years
because
old.
every lane on your face represents some trauma.
Yes.
So everything represents something. So once you release, and even when you're saying you lose the weight in your tummy and everything, and that's because the cramp that was holding, because every emotion has its own location where you anchor it. So let's say you suppress certain emotion and you put it in a certain part of the body, and you're carrying it with you everywhere you go. You know what I mean? But when you release the cause of it, there's no need for it to be there, because you let it integrate. A lot of people don't understand the concept of what I just say. The emotion exists because we live in duality. You can't have good without a bad. You cannot experience yourself as a good person unless there's somebody bad there on the opposite of you. But with these techniques, what we do, you have plus and minus. Let's say if you want to experience yourself as a tall person, somebody has to be short. Otherwise, you don't have the experience of a tall person, or smart, or anything else that exists, because whatever exists in this expression has opposite. But when you remove the energy and emotional charge between these two, they become one, which they were from the very beginning. And then it's like a coin with two sides. And then you understand it's okay, because what only spiritually naive people believe that you can only live on a positive level.
Yeah, that is not possible.
It's impossible because you live in duality.
But that's how we all started in the New Age. That's what it was, the New Age.
That's why it doesn't
in the
work.
80s, 90s, blah, blah, blah. Oh, it was great. Yeah, I'm positive. I don't want to be around negative people. I mean, come on. That was so ridiculous. But we believed in it because that's how we started. And you have to start from some point to make you motivated to actually want to get to that positive side. But of course, there is always two sides to the coin. So the neutrality and the union, it's what yoga taught me. So that's when I start getting more and more into understanding of that unity. But this, you put it so perfectly, and you do it straight away, right into that
the point
technique, to the point, like, escape, no more running. And that's what I did. I realized, oh God, I've been running and running. But then you have to come back to yourself, and it's like, wow, why have I been running all this time?
Yeah. That's what most people say. They say, oh, I'm going to go there and there to find myself.
Yeah.
I mean, try stepping towards anywhere else in order to find it. Everything is within.
Yes.
All the answers are within us. Everything that you're searching for, it's already within you. There's no reason for you to go anywhere besides to allow that stuff that you carry with you, that bags of loads of stress that you carry with you everywhere you go. Yeah. Once you allow integration and admit that that's part of you as well. Plus and minus. Magnet has plus and minus. Every cell in your body has plus and minus. You are plus and minus. So once you accept that, then neither one controls you, but you cannot do it on a cognitive level. Has to be experienced and has to be integrated. So once you integrate everything within, then you are free.
So you see, this is the special thing, because you kind of almost like, I felt you put us into that hypnotherapy. It's kind of like a hypnosis, almost like I felt like really going deeper and deeper. I was definitely connected, and the answers and the memories, I don't even know I have it. It was coming from a different space than just my mind thinking about it. This was real connection to my subconscious. So something was working, that was some link, some connection, and I felt high, like DMT was released, like I was really
It was
in
because
one.
your pineal gland releases DMT during the
Right.
process, because we balance your left and right brain hemisphere. So when because one brain hemisphere is in charge of thoughts, the other one is in charge of the emotions, or the other way around.
Yeah.
So when you balance them equally, you equally balance them, then you become in a state of oneness. And most people, some people don't experience your first session, sometimes takes more sessions, but you experience a place of oneness. And when you experience the place of oneness, you understand that that oneness never really was out there. It was always within.
Yeah.
So duality and oneness are basically, it's a game. It's like
It's
a
a dance.
play,
I call it a dance. It's like
Exactly.
surfing the wave, dancing through life, and constantly trying to measure, almost like, you know, the two energies.
Exactly. But the only
polarities.
reason I'm talking
Right.
about from my practice and my experience, the only reason why people don't experience that oneness, who they truly are, and that state, I didn't say emotion, state
Right, this is the state
of love and peace.
Yes.
Because emotion is something else, but state of love and peace is one totally different thing. So the only reason why people cannot experience who they really are, that state of love and peace, is because we identify with so many things, and every identification carries.
That's it. Absolutely. The identification
yeah.
was amazing. How many roles we play. I'm this and that and this and that. And
Yeah.
so many different identification. And then when you remove that, that's, well, please tell us
Yes.
more about it. That was fantastic.
So, you know, America's mecca of seminars,
Yeah.
workshops. So, you know, everywhere you go, they say, I'm going to make you be this. I'm going to make you be that. You want to be successful. You're going to be powerful. You're going to be this and
Right.
that. But every identification is taking you away from your core self. So the more identifications you have, the further away you go from yourself, core. You know what I mean? So yes, you become powerful, but you're not going to be happy. That's not who you are. You know, so the more education, the more degrees, the more whatever you
Skills,
you
right?
identify yourself with, that's who you believe you are. You put your energy into it, and you're feeding it with your energy, which means you are a creator. We all, two things are given to us. Creation, you are always a creator. Some people create from unconscious suppressed content, which makes them run in a vicious cycle
Right.
over and over again, always the same story, different people. Or you can be a creator from your own desirable state. So now I want to mention one thing. I was just talking to another guy. He said, I have a similar program, but it's geared towards goals. You know, if you have a goal, you're going to accomplish it. And I'm saying, if you do it that way, you will accomplish the goal, but you will not be happy.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? Yes, you're going to get to your goal faster, but that doesn't mean you're going to be content.
But then even if when you achieve the goal, what's next? Then you're like, okay, now we need another goal.
Exactly.
And then you finish that goal, it's like, oh, I need another one. So
Yes.
I see.
But
how
with the
that
FAIR
doesn't-
transformational technique, what
Right.
happens, you remove, because every identification has a goal and point of view. So let's say we all have a bunch of them. You wake up in the morning, you have an identification of a lover, you go in the kitchen, you cook, you sit down with your driver, I mean, you have mother, daughter, brother, son, whatever, it doesn't matter. You have so many identifications, but every identification has a goal and a point of view. So if you have one or two identifications that have a conflict goals, you have internal conflict.
Conflict. The
Remember
fight
what I was
that
saying?
happens inside.
Internal. Let's say
Oh my
you have
God,
identification of a hot lover and you have identification of a good daughter.
Ah,
So what happens when you're with the man of your dreams, you know, you want to make love to him as a hot lover, all of a sudden it's in conflict with a good daughter. Or proper,
yes,
you know what I mean?
We do that all the time,
Exactly.
all of us.
And then you're like, I can't do this, I'm shy, this and that. Nobody's born with the shy genes, that does not exist, by the way. But that's what happens. Those are the internal conflicts that once you de-identify from everything, then nothing rules you. You can be anything and anything that's appropriate to the situation that you are in. Then you can be a hot lover or a good daughter, but neither one rules you. You have a
So
power
this is
to
like
be
being an
anything and
actor
everything.
in a theater, and you're playing that role, but when you come out of it, you're yourself. So it's almost like picking up those roles and identification for that time, but then you go back. So that's what we need, coming back. Even if you take that role and identify with certain goal and certain role, but then if you know yourself, would that be like different?
So-
then you can go back to you and control it, even though you know you're doing it?
I think we do that normally in a real
Yeah.
life, because persona comes from the
Yeah,
word
persona, see that.
mask, original word meaning it's mask, pretending to be something that you're not. So when somebody says, I'm going to develop that personality, that means you're going to create another fake identity.
Right.
So the more fake identities you have, further away from a core self you are. With the FAIR technique, what we do, we remove all of that, and you are whoever you are. And there's no labels, there's no attachment, there's no judgment. Just is. You are, always is, and always will be.
And then how do
And
you
you
deal
live
with
it
life,
like
though?
that.
If you live like that, so it's kind of like a higher vibrational being, but living in a 3D, and you still have to face the goals and attachments and achievements and all this. So then how do you apply that in life that, I mean, life will ask you to be a certain role. You're a mother, you have a business, you're a businesswoman, you do have these roles.
So as you just done one session though.
Yeah.
But after 21 session, you will not be able to recognize yourself. You will not be able to, you will change your subjective reality. That's how we change our reality, our subjective reality. So what happens is, from that point on, I'm just talking about me personally, and thousands of people that I've trained in Europe who are experiencing the same thing. First of all, they all become clairvoyant. That's what they say. Everybody's like, after 6 months, they're like, oh, I'm clairvoyant. I was like, everybody was their whole life, but they couldn't see anything because they couldn't see a finger in front of their face because they're so overwhelmed with energy of emotional charge or tension about stuff they're identified with.
Right.
So they couldn't see who they really are. So when you remove all those identifications, so you de-identify yourself from everything, you live in a state of love and peace. And then from that point on, whatever life brings you, it's the right thing for you.
Wow,
it's not a goal that you gave to yourself because somebody told you it's a good thing to do. Or because culturally it's accepted goal.
So you don't push, you don't reach for it,
You
sit and it comes to you.
You are in the moment.
In the moment.
You're always in the moment. For example, I'm here with you and I'm here with you and I'm present with you. You know, my thoughts are not, oh, what's gonna be, what somebody's gonna think over there or whatever. I'm here with you, I'm present. So what happens, you know, the power of now, whatever they're saying, it's impossible to reach it if you have goals or if you think, because another thing what we do with the FAIR technique, and you know it, we take the trauma from the past or problem that you've been carrying from the past or suppressed emotion, or we take fears and hopes for future and we put them in here and now, and from here and now you remove energy, emotional charge, so you can be present and always be present. And then whatever life brings you,
acceptance of what life
there's
brings.
no more rejection. You same food, different taste, much better taste. Same relationships, same people, different relationships. Everything is the same, but it's different.
It's like you see it from a different eyes, from different perspective now.
You're changing the whole perception.
Point of view is different. So what you see, it's different than from before. Before you see it from your own perspective of hurt, fear, struggle, anger, all of that. But if you don't have that, you see it completely in a different way.
Exactly.
Wow.
So the perception and filters change.
Yes.
Because reason why you have certain way of perceiving things is because something happened to you in life, and then you found a proof for that. Because for every belief that you have to have a proof. But who's creating that proof?
You're creating your own mirrors
not
around
you. Mirrors, bravo, that's a good one. I want to go back to that.
Yeah,
but
okay.
This is just want to repress. The important thing is that emotion, so it's not other people that create stuff in your life. It's a suppressed emotion that's asking to be integrated. So the emotion creates circumstances in your life. Other people are just mirrors that you need to play that game with, because you can't play your game with yourself. You need players. You know, it's unconscious game. So what happens, the emotion, let's say I have sadness and I don't want to accept that I'm a sad person ever, because that's not culturally accepted. I have to be happy-go-lucky, especially in LA. Everybody's happy-go-lucky on the surface, but you know when you meet them, they're pretending to be happy, but you know in the core they're not. You know, because they can never accept that, because the amount of suppression, let's say as hard as I'm suppressing the sadness, the same amount I'm incapable experiencing the joy. You know why? Because sadness and joy are what? Coin with two sides, same thing. But when I integrate that sadness and I allow that sadness to be recognized, experienced, and integrated, then I can experience authentic joy. And that's a huge difference. Do you see what I'm saying?
That is a difference, yeah.
Then you cannot really, it cannot be compared. It's a different life.
Yeah.
Then you're not joyful because you have to be joyful because it's accepted and I want to be joyful on the muscle.
You're no more bargaining.
Then
wait,
just are.
yeah.
And then there's no judgment,
Right.
you know. Anything that comes to you, you are experiencing because everything is supposed to be experienced.
Mm-hmm.
But our culturally conditioned, even now this positive movement, it's even worse than anything because they're forcing you have to be happy, you have to be happy. If you're not, something's wrong with you.
Yeah.
Do you see what I'm saying? But you live in duality. Mm-hmm. One doesn't exist without the other. It's impossible. So you're living only half life.
You know, it's funny that you're saying about happy because lots of comedians that go out there and give us all the jokes and makes us all happy and joyful, they're actually the saddest people, they say.
Exactly,
and I've met
yes.
few, and it's like, oh my God, in their real life, they're completely opposite. But dealing with that and knowing it and integrating it, that's when the good work is done, right? Because then you can actually enjoy the joy and the happiness. But if you accept, I get it, I love it.
Do you see what I'm saying?
Yes.
But you have to experience it. You came to my lecture, it's one thing when you hear it and understand on a cognitive level.
Then I experienced it.
You have to be experienced. It's totally different. Like, I can describe water in a million words, but until you drink it or jump in the water, you don't know what water is. Same thing with this, or anything in life.
It is amazing. So how do people find you? What can we leave them to find this technique? And I'm sure many people will be wondering, oh, wait, I want this.
So, people just go to the website for right now. I'm creating an app. So most people are not comfortable going to psychologists or psychotherapists and talking about problems. But I have to mention also, this is not a talk therapy. So, because
it's not, it's way beyond, it's much deeper. No.
Because as Nikola Tesla stated, every time you talk about something, and this is good about gossip too, I'm just warning everybody. Every time you talk about something or someone, whatever you talk about evolves, grows, becomes bigger, even more installed into your psyche, doesn't go anywhere. So you are feeding it with your own energy. That's how you create. Listen, everybody's reality is real, but the reality that has the most energy becomes more powerful than all the other realities. Right. And that's why there's so much marketing, there's so much this and that, because they want to sell you their reality in which you will invest, not money, but your energy. Energy is the most precious thing in the world.
Which wolf do you choose to feed, right? What are you gonna feed?
Yes, but you have to release the one you're holding in cage, yourself. You see, most people think, oh, other person does this to me, or other people do these things to me. Nobody does anything to you. You, actually, the emotion, you're suppressing certain emotions. So let's say that's sadness. Okay, so I'm 3 years old, I suppress that sadness. So I go into elementary school, and then all of a sudden I like Jimmy, and Jimmy likes whatever, somebody else, Kathy, let's say that. And then I become sad because Jimmy doesn't like me as much as he likes Kathy. Do you see what I'm saying? So the sadness pops up again. Then I go higher, I want to get that job, somebody else gets a job, I become sad again. So all these things,
coming back.
Until you do the session and you integrate the sadness, and from that point on, there's no need for sadness in your life. You can still experience it. You can still experience it, but it's not.
You deal with it differently.
No, it's different because it's a proportional to the situation.
Okay.
Until you, for as long as I hold it within myself, it will create circumstances. It will be exaggerated. Why? Because that sadness wants to be integrated and experienced, and I don't let it. So what's happening? I'm fighting myself with a suppressed content. It could be thought, it could be defeating message like I'm not good enough, I don't belong, I'm not smart enough, whatever, it doesn't matter. It could be some message that you heard as a child that's stuck within you, like I'm not good enough, I don't deserve.
Oh yeah, we all have those
Everybody.
voices.
So once you integrate energy and emotional charge, then there's no need for that game anymore in your life.
Yes.
Then you are free. Do you see what I'm saying?
Oh my God, this is amazing to actually be free from all these voices and
from anything.
All this.
And other people are just our mirrors. Whatever I see in you, it's mine.
You create them in your life to play the theater, because you can't play with yourself. You have to create the theater.
Exactly.
Oh my God, this is beautiful. Guys, I hope you're learning a lot from this, because I did as well. And I'm really considering studying this. Maybe I'll teach you as well one day.
I think it's a good idea. Seriously, I think
Yeah.
everybody should at least be exposed at least to one
Right.
session so they can experience it firsthand.
Exactly.
And then after that, it does its own thing, because once you experience that state of oneness, because, and I have to can I just explain the technique?
Sure,
Clearly?
absolutely.
So what it is, it's a series of questions that take you deeper and deeper and deeper to your subconscious. So those are clinical questions like, what's your goal? Why are you in this situation? What are you losing? What are you gaining? We get in a point of view of other people who are involved in a problem. We ask you, who are you punishing through your own punishment? So there's a bunch of questions that get you deeper and deeper and deeper, where also you heal your child within. You talk to the older version of yourself, 20-year-old version of yourself that already solved that problem, doesn't have it anymore. So what does that mean? That means that you understand or feel it, that all the answers are already within you. For example, most people ask, when and how will I solve this problem? And then your older version of yourself gives you the answer. I have one guy saying, oh, I'm going to solve it on October 22nd. I'm like, nobody was that. But most people say, I'm solving it right now in a session, like you did. Like they say, I'm solving it right now, I'm done with it. I just realized it. But this guy was specific. He said, no, it's going to be in 2 weeks, 22nd of October. He calls me on 23rd and he said, I solved that thing. I'm done. I was like, it's incredible.
Maybe it's men think they need the goal of when exactly it's going to happen.
But it's all construct. Everything is a construct that we feed with our own energy, and we believe in it, and we are creating it because you're a creator and you have a free will. Nobody can take that away from you. That's why people are fighting so much to get your attention or your energy. So their reality becomes more real than your reality. Do you see what I'm saying? So whatever you put your focus, that expands, but it expands because you are feeding it. You are building it.
Yeah.
That's how
So you have your own practitioners that already you trained?
I do educational part. So I educate people in a technique, and then you can get educated as a practitioner.
Or you just education for yourself, it runs the course for 1 year, right?
Yeah, it's a program for 1 year program where once a month we have educational seminars. People who are part in a program, they have unlimited sessions with their colleagues, so they can fix themselves. Because I think that you cannot work as practitioner until you clean yourself first.
Yeah.
But also, most people say, oh, what happens if you train too many practitioners? Nobody ever has any competition, because people who will come to heal themselves to you will be the ones who have the same content that you integrated. You see, so there's no competition.
You have to trust that that's how it works.
Exactly.
You find each other,
In life in general, everybody in your life, every relationship, it's intended for the healing. But we don't understand it that way. So there's a person that wants to heal you, there's something there to be healed within. And instead of us understanding that, we run, and then you meet somebody else with the same content. You see how sarcastic that is? It's just same drama, just different faces. But why? Because we are not allowing that emotional content or defeating message or thought, we don't allow it to be processed completely, recognized, experienced, integrate, and gone. So simple.
Beautiful. Well, guys, thank you so much for listening, and we'll write you all the information and details of how to get to this, and check it out. FAIR, F-A-I-R technique. Thank you so much, Tatiana. This was so wonderful. Oh, beautiful work. Thank you. God bless you guys. Bye.
Thank you.